Somewhere in New Jersey tonight, right now, there's a grown woman with a college degree and a property management license walking the grounds of a luxury condominium complex looking for dog turds. That's right, good old-fashioned feces. And when she finds it, she doesn't clean it up. She collects it. Special kit, nickel-sized sample, seals it up real nice, and mails it to a DNA laboratory in Tennessee. I'm not building a bit here, folks. This is a real program covered by CBS, running in thousands of communities across this country. The lab matches that sample against a database of every dog in the building, because every dog in the building got cheek swabbed at the lease signing, like it was getting booked into county. Match comes back in 10 business days. Fine goes into their account. And I know what you're thinking. You're laughing right now, right? It's funny. CSI. Poop unit, right? But think about how many of these types of things started with a laugh. Because here's the question this whole video hangs on. What happens if you don't pay that fine? What is that fine attached to? It's attached to your house. If you watched my last video, you already know where this whole road ends. A man in Texas lost a $300,000 home, paid off, free and clear, over a debt that started smaller than probably a used lawnmower. The instrument that took it was a lien. And tonight, I'm going to show you that same instrument wearing a leash. Say it with me, because by the end of this, the dumbest story on the internet is going to be the story that scares you the most about your deed. Now let's look at the machine itself, because the scale of this thing is what nobody tells you. The company is called Poo Prints. That's the real name. Out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And by their own count, they're in roughly 9,000 communities, condos, HOAs, apartment complexes across this country and beyond at this point. Hundreds of thousands of dogs in a DNA database. Here's how the service works. Per the company's own numbers to the press, around $60 to register your dog's DNA, around $125 every time they test a sample. And guess whose account those costs land on when there's a match? Plus the fine on top, $250 is a common number. One New Jersey complex made the news at exactly that. Now, the guy who doesn't pick up after his dog, not defending this guy, he's a slob, but he's just the excuse this entire apparatus was built on. Every surveillance system in history got sold the same way. We just need to catch the slobs, right? But here's the part that should stop you cold. Up in Brookfield, Connecticut, a condo association rolled this out, and this was reported by Hearst. This is not an internet fairy tale. And if you refuse to swab your dog, $25 a day. A day. Run that math. Say no to the Q-tip. Stand on principle for 1 year? Yeah, that's over $9,000. Not for leaving waste on the ground, not for hurting anybody, for declining to put your pet in a genetic database. Your dog didn't do anything. Hell, you didn't do anything. The meter's going to be running anyways. Every dollar of that lands on the same ledger as your dues. Remember that ledger. It's the whole story. All right, now let's go back to where this whole thing got pioneered, because the fine print down there tells you exactly what this was always about. Jupiter, Florida, 2011. A condo association called the Village of Abacoa. About 450 units. A lot of dog owners. They get fed up with the mess. Board says they're spending $10,000 to $12,000 a year cleaning up after these dogs. That's a real problem. I'll give them the problem. Here's the solution they landed on. as CBS reported at the time. Every dog owner pays $200 into the DNA registry. Droppings get collected and mailed off for matching. And when they match your dog, a fine of up to $1,000 or a lien on your home. And for the repeat offenders, the reporting said the association claimed it could go one further, confiscating your dog, taking your dog over its own droppings. But let's forget the dog for a second, because the dog was never the point. Look at that fine number again, up to $1,000. Now, here's a piece of Florida law your realtor probably never mentioned. Down there, an association can't file a lien over fines less than $1,000. That's the legal floor, apparently. The threshold where a grudge becomes a claim on your property. So where did they set the fine? Right at the doorstep of a lien. That's not a coincidence. That's a design choice. The dog mess was the pretext, the instrument. The thing with actual teeth was always the paper. The same paper from the last video. The same paper that sold a Texas soldier's paid-off house for less than a used pickup. Different pretext, same teeth. Now, I've got to clear something up because this corner of the internet is a landfill. You've seen the viral HOA stories. The board that fined a guy for the color of his curtains. The HOA that towed a car out of a man's own garage. Half of what goes viral is fiction. Rage bait. Written by nobody, about nobody, farmed for clicks. And I'm not going to feed you any of it. On this channel, if I can't source it, you don't hear about it. So let me tell you what's documented. CBS, Hearst, the Associated Press. Because the truth is oftentimes worse than the made-up AI slop. New Jersey 2013, a complex told residents, get your dog swabbed by November 1st or eat a $100 fine for not showing up to the swab. Real. Brookfield, the $25 a day meter. Real. Florida, the $1,000 or lien program with a confiscation clause. Very real and 15 years old. This isn't coming. It's installed already. And here's the second piece of meat tonight. The part that connects every one of these stories. It's never the fine that gets you. It's the chain. Watch how the chain runs. The fine hits your account. You think it's garbage, so you don't pay it. Late fees stack on. Collection costs stack on. Attorney's fees, theirs, not yours, stack on. And then state after state, once that pile crosses the line, the association files the lien. And an HOA lien in a long list of states can be foreclosed. Nobody foreclosed over dog crap. They foreclosed over 25. It became 800. It became $2,000 with lawyers on it while you were busy being right. The man in Texas learned that. His number started under $1,000. The chain doesn't care what the first link was. A special assessment, a lawn, or a Labrador. That's why the funny story isn't funny. Every pretext, no matter how stupid, feeds the same machine. And the machine only ends in one place, with paper on your deed. All right, so let's land this thing. You bought the home. Maybe you paid it off. In your head, that's the finish line. Nobody can touch you now. But if there's an association on that deed, you didn't just buy a house. You co-signed a rule book. And buried in that rule book is a mechanism that can convert any violation, real, petty, or manufactured, into a debt. That debt into a lien, and that lien in a long list of states into a forced sale. The dog DNA program isn't the disease. It's a symptom. It's what it looks like when a private board gets comfortable enough with that mechanism to point it at a pet. And here's the reframe I want you to walk away with. The board is counting on you never reading the documents. The chain works because the first link always looks too small to fight and too dumb to take seriously. The man who knows the chain, who reads the cc&rs, who answers every notice in writing, who never lets a petty fine age into a lien, that man, he's a hard target. They can only take ground from men who aren't watching it. Next video, I've got a stack of the most viral HOA horror stories on the internet, and we're going to run every one of them through the machine and find out which ones are real, which ones are fiction, and which ones are worse than the headlines. You will not believe which pile is bigger. I'm the Yeoman, and I'll see you in the next one.